because preferably there would be a period of chastity. But like not even chastity. I don't even know why I keep saying that word. It just makes me sound
Especially when we know you don't even, you like.
I don't subscribe to those values now. But I really want to protect Shori.
No, I mean,
and in my head, for some reason, protection comes in the form of, I don't know, chastity belts.
Hi everyone, it's Saya here and welcome back to our monthly long yak. We're changing things up again a little, and the big one is that we're changing our name from the Stars in My Pocket podcast to drumroll, can I have drumroll? Dramas Over Flowers! This yak, we're sticking to our watch lists, which are unusually short, so in currently airing shows we talk about Time and Kim Jong-un's departure from the show, 30 but 17, Your Househelper, and we go way back in time to revisit classic rom-com Full House and the slightly more recent My Princess. We hope you enjoy it. See you on the other side. Hi everyone, this is Saya.
This is Anisa.
And this is Paroma. Oh, it's mine. Sorry. What? So we are a little short on time this long yak, so it's going to be a short, long yak. And we're going to start by talking about a drama that has a bit of controversy attached to it, and that's Time.
Well, I wouldn't say it's controversy exactly, but probably everyone's heard by now that Kim Jong-un, the lead actor, has had to drop out of the show due to health problems, eating and sleeping disorders. And I'm not sure if anyone who's watched, probably people who are watching are aware, but also before the show started, there was a little bit of a thing where he was criticized for his behavior at the press conference. And at the time it was explained as what is it called?
He was too into the character.
Yeah, exactly. But kind of retrospectively looking at it, it seems like his problems have been continuing for quite some time, which is actually really sad. You guys aren't watching this show. I am, and I'm current on it as well. It's not a spoiler to say that his character was meant to die anyway. So his central arc of his character is that he's terminally ill. He's been diagnosed with a brain tumor, stage 4, months to live. So I read somewhere else that the writers did say that he was always meant to die at the end of the show. The other thing about the show is that it's from one of the writers of Secret, the Jisung drama. So
do you see a similar flair in this? Like,
absolutely. I love this show. So I'm actually like, on the one hand, I'm kind of wrecked by the idea of him leaving because he commands this show. He's like got so much charisma, and I don't know what the show will be without him. But at the same time, it's, especially if you've watched the most recent episodes, which let me just check what the most recent episode was. Okay, 1920. So the most recent episode, 1920, which in the standard count would be episode 10. So it would have been 16 hours. These episode counts are so annoying. So 32 episodes, i.e. the standard usual 16, but split in half.
Right.
For the ad reasons. So where was I going with that? I can't remember.
Just you were talking about the latest episode and how really good and stuff.
So in the latest episodes, and this is after the news that he's leaving, but his character hasn't been killed off yet. So basically they've moved up his fate. So I imagine the way to write him out of the show will be by him just dying sooner than they planned. But it's actually really distressing to watch now because it's hard to separate. And I'm not saying he's not a professional, he absolutely is, but you watch him and you're like, that exhaustion looks too real. It he looks like death warmed over, frankly. Like in the preview for the next week's episode, he really looked that bad. And go on.
No, sorry. I was just gonna say, I'm sure that when he's already going through all this, mental health and, physical unwellness already. I'm sure that playing someone who's also unwell and having to like put yourself through all these really emotionally wrenching scenarios, it couldn't have helped him with his health, when he's already feeling so bad. And like even just not sleeping will make you so much more emotionally unbalanced by itself, even if that's not caused by some kind of deeper physiological or psychological issues. So my heart really goes out to him.
Yeah, it's really distressing to see that now. So I hope that he goes and takes a really long break and gets better. And sometimes fans make you kind of like the entitlement of fans who are rude. It's just like, why do you think you can say those things? Because even in the English speaking community, people have been really rude about this.
Really?
Because of his co-star, is it Sohyun? Who is, remind me who she is?
Girls' Generation. She's from Girls' Generation, yeah.
So they're like, he's disrespecting her. And
oh
it's like,
my Lord.
Are you serious? And that said, she's doing a really good job in the show, I think. I mean, I haven't seen her, I don't recall watching her in any other dramas. But I think she's doing a good job handling her character. Her character's quite, intense, also depressed, also quite sort of becoming hard. As in, she's suffered the loss of every member of her family, literally has nothing left to live for. It didn't start off as a revenge drama, but it's kind of morphed into one, and I like revenge dramas.
We know.
It's interesting. Like, if you're gonna remove your heart and not be a human being who cares about anyone else except yourself or the quality of the show, I mean, even if you were gonna just say, "Oh well, for Sohyun it sucks" or whatever, which is so strange and unpleasant, but wouldn't it be better for her to like have more time to explore her own character now that she's gonna have to like fill in? I mean, she's the heroine, right? So I don't understand someone being like, this is disrespectful or
yeah, that's a good point.
She's gonna get actually more screen time, and if she's doing as well as you say she is, and it's the secret writer, so clearly they can do something interesting with her character.
I think it comes from the mindset that you have to be considerate of your colleagues' hard work in a project as well. So you can't be quote unquote selfish. So even if you're sick, for instance, you can't take time off work because then your colleagues' times would be wasted. And that's like a very ingrained mindset in the workspace in Korea, right?
It is, and it's very, it bothers me a lot, but.
No, sure, but like individuality takes a bit of a backseat. That's just how, the system is.
When suicide is your national epidemic, you really need to pay more attention to this.
It's something that I think a lot of Asian cultures struggle with, is that sometimes the individual can get consumed by the group in kind of an unhealthy way, just because the way the society is set up, the group is given more priority than in some other cultures. So.
Yeah,
it's finding a middle ground where you can serve the group at the same time as looking after yourself.
Yeah, that balance is really important.
And he's done like 3 projects back to back pretty much. He did School 2017, then he did Woohoo Waikiki right away. And he's gone straight from there and come to this. That's a lot of work for someone School 2017 was his first lead role.
Yeah, I can see how stress might catch up to him as well. So,
but he does he looks properly dead on his feet. He just needs to go and take a break.
Let's just hope that at least part of it is because of excellent makeup.
I hope so, and good acting.
Yeah. Well, we are going to be wishing him all the best and sending him good thoughts, and hopefully people let him rest without harassing him too much.
Yeah.
Or at all.
Hopefully he'll come back with a new project when he's ready and not before that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you guys want to cover your Househelper first?
This is
you're watching that?
Yeah, I'm watching it too. Yeah.
I'm not watching it at all, I'm afraid. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Am I the only one that's watching it?
You are.
I'm afraid so, yes.
Okay, so I mean,
Sorry.
No, it's fine. Why is that funny?
I don't know why she's apologizing. I mean, if you're not watching, you're not watching. There's nothing to be sorry
I'm
about.
apologizing because I spent the entire month not watching dramas much. Or I've been watching dramas, but not dramas we can talk
Apart
about.
from like 60-episode Chinese dramas, which
They're
miraculously have
other
time
ones.
for without having time for 10 episodes.
Yeah, hey, it serves a portion of our listenership who appreciate that. So
True,
I'm
very
fine with
true.
that, yeah.
I appreciate that too.
We don't cover that part of our audience. So.
I will have new Chinese dramas to talk about in the next yak. Right now, I'm still trying to finish up the last ones.
Sounds good. So, your
Okay.
Househelper. I don't know. Like, I started it because I heard from Eau Dilettante that it was just really heartwarming and like a really good slice of life drama, which I love slice of life. And Ha Suk-jin was really good in Radiant Office. This drama kind of gave me like a mixture between, I think I mentioned it last time, but it reminded me of a cross between A Poem a Day and Radiant Office, and that it had that feeling of like all these different stories with people who are just kind of dealing with ordinary stuff. And then there was also like some of the office things that were going on because Bona's character is dealing with, she's like an intern in a team where everyone really doesn't value her. And then so when I started it, I really enjoyed the whole, how they sort of, all those characters kind of reconnect. And I remember when I talked about the beginning part of it, I was saying that you were asking me, Paroma, if it's going to end up being a cohabitation drama between the heroine and Ha Suk-jin's character, because he's kind of not living at home anymore, and she has a house that she wants to sort of
So did she rent it to him?
So she does put it out for rent, but instead of him coming to live with her, it's her estranged high school friends. So she ends up living with her best friends from high school who she kind of had a falling out with, and she hasn't seen them in like, I don't know, 10 years or whatever. Which I actually like better. Yeah. So that was really heartwarming, you know, them getting to, you know, overcoming their misunderstandings and getting close again. And there's another friend who doesn't live in the house, but she's kind of the architect to get them all to live together because she wants them to make up and she doesn't understand what happened. They all kind of have their own like individual arcs, which are really nice. It's starting now to get a little bit, I think I'm on episode, I don't remember what episode, but it's more than halfway through the show. And like, I don't think it's a spoiler to say that Bona and Ha Suk-jin have a love line in this, but it's kind of the least interesting part of the drama, I think. There was also a sexual harassment storyline, which she faced some workplace sexual harassment, and I thought they did a really good job with it. But then after that whole storyline seemed to be resolved, he like shows up again, and now he's like respects her because she stood up to him and he has a crush on her, which I'm like, what? Yeah, I was like, you should have just left it. So like, why are you ruining it? So that
disappeared forever.
Exactly, he should just disappeared forever. Instead, he shows up and they're like, we thought you got transferred to another team. He was like, yeah, I was gonna do that, but then I insisted that I need to come back. And you're like,
why?
Yeah.
They had to. They just couldn't leave it be.
And the thing is, it would be accurate to how real dudes are, except that the drama seems to be setting it up as like he's a romantic rival to her actual boyfriend. So I'm just like, no, this is not cute. This is not cute. And drama, you don't get to make it cute. Like, don't do this.
And that's just plain creepy.
Yeah, and then there's something with his backstory about the girlfriend that abandoned him that he's been like sad about for this whole time.
Therefore, I sexually harassed other people.
No. The hero. No, it's there's
okay.
hero storyline where he has this woman that he couldn't forget, and like he's finally gotten over her, and he wants to move on with the heroine, but like that story is coming back in kind of a weird way. So I don't know. I'm probably gonna finish it, and I'm not totally caught up. Like I haven't watched this week's episodes, but I'm not quite as happy with it as I was like 2 weeks ago when I was like, oh, this is so heartwarming and beautiful, and the ensemble cast.
Are they cleaning the house well? That's one of the things I'm interested in.
So one of the things that I loved most, was about like the parts where he like goes into people's houses and he helps them, you know, reorganize their life, literally and also figuratively, and they find some healing from that. And like that was so nice. But because the plot movement has taken over the last few episodes, we're not getting as much of that, which kind of makes me sad. I was learning tips from him
I was
how
about to start this. Sorry, go on.
No, I was like learning tips from Hussein. He's like so calming and like relaxing when he teaches you how to like, you know, clean your dish rags in the microwave and stuff. Like, it's great. So that's, you know, there's been less of that.
Apparently that's not actually useful, because by killing all the old bacteria, you just make space for super bacteria. I read an article about this. So
oh, what about if you just boil them in a pot?
Same thing. You're killing the ones that will die in heat, but the other ones, the tough ones, they'll survive and they'll proliferate. So in fact, your sponge will be full of worse things. Any, you know, bacteria scientist, feel free to tell me otherwise.
So what, you just like wash them in the washing machine? I'm talking about like dish towels.
I think you're meant to just throw them away at some point. Oh, dish towels might be different, but this is sponges.
No, sponges are just gross. You have to throw them away after a while. But with dish towels and like kitchen towels, I feel like
you should be able to boil them and
exactly. Fine. So anyway,
I was about to start watching
about cleaning our kitchen, but
and then you and a dilettante both kind of came out negative this week for it, and then I was like, okay, I'm not going to watch it then. Because
just for our listeners, Dilettante is a writer in Drama Beans. She writes about K-dramas. Okay,
yes.
go on.
And she guested for us in a deep dive that we haven't yet published.
We will soon be publishing.
Okay.
Please hold on to your seats.
Coming soon, maybe.
Immediately.
Soonish.
So yeah, so I mean, I might finish it. I've kind of lost my enthusiasm, but I'll try to go back and finish and just give you guys like a good ending sort of opinion. I feel like I've sunk enough time into it at this point, and I enjoyed the characters enough. Yeah. I just feel like every storyline is becoming frustrating, and that makes me kind of sad.
Okay. And all three of us are watching 30 but 17, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And suffering from the lack of episodes because of the Asian games. Asian games are great, but I want more drama.
Are you guys both caught up to this week? Because I didn't watch the last 2 weeks, which is 2 hours, because it's been one episode each week, like one full long 1 hour episode.
Lots of stuff happened.
Oh, okay. So maybe
though the cat's not out of the bag yet, so it's not like
it's so frustrating.
Oh, it's still not out. Oh my gosh,
still not out.
I watched the first 5 minutes where he's like, she's the housekeeper, and I was like, oh my god. And that was as far as I got.
Okay, no, so that okay, I won't spoil that for you, but beyond that, I know how frustrated you guys are that he still doesn't know who she is, but what I really like about this, the way they deal with it, is that there are things he finds familiar about her, and that triggers his subconscious, but he is not ready, because in his head, Shiori, or rather, I think, like in his head, her name is Nasomi, right? That was her friend's name. In his head, Nasomi, and in his head, it's such a certainty that she's dead. Like, there is just no way that this woman is that girl. So there is no way he's just going to come to the conclusion in a sudden, brilliant flash of epiphany. It's not. I mean, if he does, it'll have to be like sort of a cumulative thing where there have to be a lot of small incidences where the realizations pile up. He can't just suddenly come to the realization.
There's so many near misses that it's like, it feels like
but
it's
none of those are like,
and I don't like it.
But except for the thing where she looks at the moon through her fingers, there aren't actually a lot of very obvious near misses.
There are so many. That's my problem too. Yeah, sorry, go ahead. Sorry,
there was the photo. There was
so the photo was in
wardrobe. Oh my god,
the wardrobe. Yes, there was so much, and it's like every moment you're like,
oh yeah, that.
I feel manipulated. Like, I know that they're baiting me. And it's
exactly.
it's not heavy, but it's.
I really don't mind. I don't mind because they have to know each other as they are in the
That's
present
true.
without his
I do
guilt
appreciate
burdening him.
that.
But
I
So yeah,
appreciate
if
that.
he found out her identity, he would sort of like stick with her just more out of guilt than because he has feelings for her. He would do everything he can to help her. It would just, I don't know,
No,
it would just skew up their relationship, huh?
no, I
Not
totally
that.
agree with all of that, and I do also want them to get to know each other and like without all of that baggage. But then I agree with Saya. Like, why do they keep teasing us with like, oh look, he's gonna find out. Oh no, he's not gonna find out. Oh look, she's
But
gonna
you know
find out.
what?
Oh no, definitely.
I
I'm
think
just kidding. Oh look,
And
the
also,
friend
also
from
the
high
part
school's
where they
gonna
won't.
find her. Oh no, that was just.
Yeah, the part where they won't let her friend find her. I really like. I'm like, give the boy a break.
Right?
How many times
Yeah, that
the
made
kid
absolutely
who
no
has
sense to
actually
me.
stuck by
Someone
her.
came looking for her. This boy, Chan, knows that she's looking for her friends, relatives, whatever. And just because she said, don't let anybody from the hospital in, he's just going to turn away people without asking them who they are. I mean, come on.
It's really, yeah.
And then
Like
not tell this
it's to the
girl.
point where it's too contrived and it doesn't feel
Right.
organic anymore.
Exactly.
Like you're
And
just
she's
keeping
her
them
friend.
apart for no reason.
Yeah, and she's a friend from the past, like who
Yeah, someone
actually
to
knows.
connect her to her old life.
Exactly. And like they took away the chance for that with the classical musician because
right,
now
yeah.
she's like they were initially connected and I was like, "Oh, maybe they'll become friends because like their lives have changed or whatever." But no, it's back to like I'm your evil rival again. Like that was
But you know what? I think there is
annoying.
some hope because Rin Kim, like when she's not contemplating, I don't know, her past rivalry with this girl, she's actually a really decent person. She's polite, she's cooperative, she's
Is
efficient,
she?
she
I
actually is
don't
talented.
know, man.
I mean, like, when
She's
has she
playing her
been
part.
evil except,
She
huh?
hasn't been evil, but she's like she doesn't mean she doesn't have goodwill towards Sori once she finds out who Sori is.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
not
And
towards sorry, but I'm
the
talking
reason
about
that you think
her,
she's
like,
nice now is because she's not being challenged. Like her insecurities are not being challenged. The reason that she's nice is because she's got full security in her position as superior to everybody and with more money and with more connections and with more status. Like all of that allows her to be secure. And that's why she can be nice. So her niceness is a result of her feeling of superiority and security.
Yeah, I'm with
But
Saya on
I
that
do
one.
have some hope that she would have a redemptive arc. It's just that Nasuri's entire character theme seems to be that she can befriend anyone. And since their arc together as adults started with her asking for Suri from the
yeah, but
art
she doesn't see
stage
Sori as
people.
her equal. She sees Sori as someone who is
An
subordinate to her.
interloper.
Yeah, as in before she knew who she was.
No,
She
I'm not disagreeing
appreciated
with
her but
you.
didn't see her as an equal.
I am
Yeah.
not
And
disagreeing with you. However, I'm just saying that since their reconnection started with her liking Suri's, the way Suri's mind works, and thinking to herself, this is somebody I can talk to,
but
I'm
the
just saying
second she
there is a
found out who she
possibility.
was,
That's
the
because of
second
old insecurities. Like, and mind you, that those old insecurities as a child had been plumbed properly by her super obsessive mother. I have some sympathies
but
for this
she's
woman.
no, it's not that I don't get her, but I mean she's still acting on those insecurities as an adult. I mean, because I'm
But
watching
she
her
hasn't
thinking,
actually
are you
acted on it
seriously?
yet.
Well, she's
Yeah,
naysaying
she
Suri
has.
whenever possible.
And she's completely
She's
changed the way she talks to
yeah,
her. Like
exactly. She's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
way.
speaking
yeah.
to her
She's been
anymore.
avoiding her pretty much entirely since she found out.
I think I
And
would
She's
be
her
more
not just avoiding
sympathetic
her,
fears
to
are
she's
getting
her.
cutting her out.
realized.
She's cutting her out of the job that she put her into in the first
Right.
place. So
I
she's
would
not
be
as yeah, sorry, go on, Nisa.
no, it's okay. No, I was gonna say, like, I agree with you. I would be more sympathetic to her insecurities and be like, okay, well, you're an adult woman now. You're not like 15 anymore. If she had those feelings on the inside and maybe some of them leaked out, but she was still like doing her best to, be a professional and be like, okay, I'm in this now. I hired this person, but she's not doing that at all. She's being like petty and like,
Yeah.
Like just like bitter and
it's like Suri
mean.
has nothing. Suri really has nothing.
Right.
And you're still jealous of her. And
Yeah.
you have everything. You've got a career. You've got like, you've got everything that Suri doesn't have. So like just to have some security in that. Have like are you not good enough on your own that you need to become insecure? And she is good enough.
But I think the
She just
entire
doesn't feel
point of
it.
her, the root of her insecurity comes from the fact that she's not, in her head, she's not good enough. She's not the best. Because the only way she could get the top position, the way she could play with the maestro who had chosen Shiori when she was younger, was because Shiori had that accident. If she had not been removed, this Rin Kim would not have had the opportunity she did. So
No,
in
she
her head,
she
it's
was
not on.
chosen.
She was
Rin
not
Kim
chosen as a
was
second chair.
no, she was
That was
chosen
Shuri.
for the competition or whatever that they went for. What Sori got was something that was outside of the competition. It was like a
Okay.
Yeah.
special
But
thing
I
outside
remember
of
a
it.
conversation between her and her mother where her mom was like, "Why weren't you chosen for that?" And she said, "Well, like he chose Shuri. What can I do?" And she was like, "It's because you're not as good as Shuri." Like her mother said that. So that conversation stays in my head. Like from Rin Kim's perspective, she never earned the first position. She never earned the top position because Shuri just disappeared. So her competition disappeared. She could never prove herself. And now when she is at the top, she still feels like it's an unearned position, or that she can be toppled. So
Okay.
it just, I'm not justifying her meanness. She is totally petty and mean. I'm just saying that I like the way this woman is portraying this character, and I can sort of see where her emotions are coming from.
I think part of it for me is the actress. Is it Wang Jiwon? Is that her name?
Yeah,
Oh,
it
it
is
is
Wang
Wang
Ji-won.
Jiwon. Okay, so the actress who plays Rin Kim's character, Wang Jiwon, she like I've seen her play this character so many times, and like she was almost the same character in like what Hospital Ship. She was the
Fated
same
to Love
character
You.
in Fated to Love You. Exactly. This is like a standard character for her, and at some point you just see her face and you're like, no.
I think I'm feeling that a little bit too. It's that
Oh,
leftover.
okay. I've never seen her anything before. Like even Fated to
Did
Love
you
You, I
watch
never
Fated?
actually watched
Or
throughout. No, I've just
oh,
watched like the
okay.
first 5 episodes, and
Oh, I Need
yeah,
Romance 3 as well. I think she was a similar character in that.
she was.
Basically,
I
she
watched
plays the
that
same
one.
character.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't
She
remember
was
her
in
from
Airs and
anything.
Good Doctor as
She's
well.
always I don't remember. I think it says it's a
Yeah.
cameo in Airs. Um,
She's
but
always the cold and beautiful artist with a painful past and insecurities that she can't tell
and
anyone
and lots of
under her
jealous
success.
behavior.
Right, exactly.
Okay, I see your point. Yeah, that can get
So yeah, maybe
repetitive.
that's why I'm less willing to cut her some slack. So, but
Mm.
you've made a very convincing case. So I am, I'm reconsidering it now because that was a good defense.
Yeah, no,
Thank you.
yeah, well, have some good points. Is Chen
Yeah,
still
okay, then.
adorable? Can I just say right now,
Yes,
I was
he really is
shocked when I found out that he's the same actor as a soccer player from did we
Father
already talk
Strange.
about this?
Father is
In
Strange.
I'm so shocked.
in the anniversary podcast.
Oh, we did? Okay. Then I won't bring that up. But I'm so,
No, we can bring it up again. I
Yeah.
think it's very pertinent.
he's so good in this, and he was so wooden in that. And he looks
So
so.
apparently he was also in Splash Splash Love.
I haven't seen that.
Remember him, but I didn't
Okay, you've
realize that
watched
this
it.
is. I have, but I don't remember his face. I didn't realize this is the same actor who dropped out of the drama with Kim Yoo Jung, the one that what's his name is doing now, Yoon Kyun Sang is doing now.
Oh.
Clean with Passion for now. So because I didn't recognize his name, I was like, that's just don't know who that is yet or
Yeah.
ever.
He's very new.
But he's also the one who's turned down a role the next Kim So-yeon drama. So now I'm like, oh, it was him, and I would have wanted to see that, because
Yeah.
like Kim Se-yeon really, she needs to act with someone her own age. I want to see that more.
agree.
I don't
Yeah.
like seeing her against like
Wait,
30-year-olds.
isn't Clean with Passion for
That's
now?
Kim Yoo Jung.
That's Kim Yoo Jung. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So he declined that one, and he also declined.
He dropped out of that one because remember Kim Yoo Jung was ill.
Right. That's right.
And then like scheduling
about it.
stuff took over, and he could no longer stay in the drama because of other things. So he dropped out, and then Yoon Kyun Sang was cast in that. But
Those two
yeah, that was
actresses
him.
that would have been nice to see him with.
Yeah. Oh, and now that I've seen him, I'm like, oh.
But I mean, I have to say he was not really very good in Father is Strange, except maybe like by the end he was okay. So I think Father is Strange.
But I don't think he had much to work with in Father is Strange, especially when I look at him now. Like he was very clearly trying to play a character he's either not very comfortable with, or that his brief was to play him like that. Because it cannot be that in the span of just 6 months he suddenly developed super acting powers. Okay.
Or it's possible that Chan is much closer to his real personality. So it's because he is pretty new. He's pretty young. But anyway, he makes my heart feel squishy.
Dude, he gets like some of the best romantic moments, and that's just so unfair to us. Like,
oh, that's true. I just suddenly found out that he was the emo boy band lead singer in Entertainer as well.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Okay.
Don't. It's a waste of time.
Okay, guys, something I just have to mention right now. I'm looking at Asian Wiki, like the page for still 17, 30 with 17, and Doku has his own cast picture.
Aww,
the dog.
I like him.
Yeah, Peng.
Peng. Peng is adorable.
Baby.
Don't cheek peel. I love that line so much.
What I like
I love
Jennifer going and correcting
corrects his grammar on that. On that little poster that he makes for himself in the bedroom.
There's an even better part coming up, Anisa, that you haven't seen yet, but when you see it, we told you first.
Okay.
So that's all the currently airing that we've been watching. It's a rather sparse list. But we have been watching other stuff, older stuff. And should I start with mine?
Yeah, go for it.
It's Full House. So Anisa got Sai and me to watch the first episode of Full House. We recorded the commentary on that.
I can't believe that you guys hadn't watched it yet. Yeah. Like, it's such a classic.
I hadn't begun it.
Okay.
I just only got half an episode in, that's all.
Okay, go on, Paroma. Sorry.
I'm just getting so many My Girl flashbacks just from the style of dressing and the hairstyles. My God, the hairstyles. But it just, so the commentary happened, and it's all like, it's probably going to be up by the end of the week. So next week.
Or maybe the week after. A week.
Soon, in the coming days.
Some week. But I was like, hey, I'll wait till Anisa and Sarah have time, and we'll watch some
and then you couldn't wait, right?
Episodes, and I didn't wait.
I'm having Father Strange flashbacks.
And the thing is, I didn't even plan on watching. I didn't even plan on watching like a proper episode of this. It's just that I think I found that it's on KBS. Like, KBS has made it legally available, all the episodes on YouTube. So I was I don't know, just scrolling past stuff, and I saw, I think, the 4th episode and a clip from that and something pertinent that happens there, and I was like, I'll just watch a little bit.
There.
So yeah, I'm
yeah,
and I'm on episode 13 now.
Happens to the best of us.
And mind you, this is important. I just started this like maybe 5 hours back, so I was fast. I was speed watching through the stuff, but yeah, it's I'm probably going to go back and watch the entire thing, because I really like this drama. It turned out to be way better than the first episode suggested. And the clothing got better too, believe it or not.
Because I'm halfway through episode 2, and this, like, why do all of his shirts, like, open until, like, midriff? Like,
okay.
What is that about?
Saya, that's part of the entertainment of watching this show in 2018. Come on.
The thing is, when I'm watching it on my own, I can't share the hilariousness of it. So I'm just like baffled and entertained, and like I need to share how ridiculous.
and share them on Twitter and like have us join you in laughing
I've been
about it.
making so many
With a what if
screenshots, guys, especially at one point. So it's not a spoiler to say that there is a very nice second lead in this drama, but at one point he very arrogantly tells the female lead that I'm very popular with women. All women like me. Why don't you like me? She turns to him and she's like, I'm sorry, but are you a narcissist? That was so good. The only complaint that I have with this drama, because the pacing is good, the characterization is good, I really like the emotional honesty between Ji-yoon and Young-jae, played by Song Hye-kyo and Rain. I really like the emotional honesty there. Like every time they have an argument, because it's a cohabitation thing, and I won't go into the details of why they are cohabitating, but there are certain. Would it be a spoiler to say why they're cohabitating?
No,
I mean, it happens in the first
part of
15
the
minutes.
it's part of the show's concept, isn't it?
Okay, so great. It's a contract marriage, and it's just that like as they get closer and they care more about each other. Like initially they treat each other like crap. Especially Rain treats. I'm sorry, Rain doesn't. Wait, what's this guy's name? Young-jae. Young-jae treats Jian pretty badly. But he starts caring about her, and as their emotional closeness progresses and they get jealous about each other's interactions with other people, they hit out at each other, but then they make up, and it's just this very realistic depiction of how a relationship progresses when you're actually having conversations. Like neither of them are admitting that they like each other, but they're having conversations because they both want to get along really badly. So like they like being together. So I am hooked just because of that. There isn't a lot of external conflict, despite the whole love quadrangle thing
The
that's
second
going on.
leads are very ineffectual.
There isn't actually a lot of even their pull is pretty much
they're like asteroids.
not there. But it just okay. So the second leads are pretty ineffective. Their relationship is great. The only complaint that I have about this drama is, and this was a staple of the time, how often Han Ji-yoon is called stupid. I mean, not just by Young-jae, but just by she is treated like she's an idiot. By us too, especially like now that I go back and listen to our initial commentary, we were kind of calling her dumb a lot. However, her actions were really annoying, and she, as Anisa had said during the commentary, she gets progressively less annoying after the second episode.
She
like actually from the second episode.
I don't know why they had to make her such an airhead in the first episode. Maybe that's the only way she could be scammed. But like once she starts asserting herself,
but they could have made her get scammed by being nice and not like so dumb. Right. Like she could have just been naive but not unintelligent in that kind of way.
But what I found offensive was not her naivete, but how in your face she was with, not even in your face, it's just that she would get into other people's personal space. And I really dislike that.
Not having boundaries.
Personally, I really hate it.
That's true. So, now that you bring that up,
not having boundaries is a really big issue for me. And she does not show this disregard for other people's boundaries afterwards. Like after the first episode, she seems to have a character transplant. She becomes more considerate. She just becomes overall a heroine I can root for.
What's her name in
I don't know how that.
What is her? Oh gosh, what's her name?
Laica?
Yeah, that's right. I think what was the character's name? Ju?
Oh, I don't remember. It's been like 10 years since I've seen Michael. I honestly I will rewatch this too if you guys want to do a deep dive on it. But after watching episode 1, I was like, wow, I forgot a lot about this.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to rewatch it all.
Yeah, but you know what? It's surprisingly fresh, even though it is like pretty old. I think it was what.
I think 2004.
2004, right?
Or 5.
Yeah. And so for that time, the drama, the pacing, even the conflicts, it isn't actually too convoluted. It's all very much a matter of getting to know each other and starting to trust each other, which is just the majority of the romantic conflict. And I'm enjoying it because there isn't too much I don't know, there aren't too many subplots or distractions or fluff. And their relationship
Well,
and
like
their
what you're
chemistry is
saying,
done really
yeah,
well.
like you're saying, it
So,
was
yeah.
fresh at that time because this basically spawned a generation of cohabitation dramas and contract marriage dramas. So like at that time, that was the
Yeah.
conflict and it was new, and so they didn't really need to add anything extra.
There is a reason it's practically iconic. Also, when I watched This Life Is Our First, I was like, whoa, they're doing cohabitation so well. And of course, then I watched the Japanese original, and then I was like, whoa, they did it even better. But this one also does it really, really well. Like the whole contract negotiation, getting to know each other better, renegotiating the contract, all of those things. I really like how they get into it. It's a good drama, guys. If you guys want to try out something that's romantic and like where the relationship is a slow burn, but you can almost visibly see them falling for each other, this drama
Bonus, you can
is a
make
good
fun of
investment
Rain's
of your time.
outfits.
Just get through the first episode. Oh yeah, I got used to them. At one point, I'm like, this is not
it
bad.
does
Like
the character
loud,
building
but
work
not
of
bad.
who he is, right? Like he's such a big star that he can wear stuff like that. It's part of his.
And after a while, it starts looking
Yeah, and also thankfully his house clothes are less offensive. Okay, yeah. So that's all I had to say about Full House. Do you guys want to talk about? Oh, sorry, you're watching My Princess.
Yeah. So, it's funny because you're watching Full House and that's 2004 and My Princess is like 2011, but they feel like they're from the same era. Although it's still that place where smartphones are still new and the PPL is for smartphones, not for apps. It's so funny. But yeah, that's completely random. Yeah, so I was kind of surprised as well with My Princess is that like from rom-coms from that kind of pre 2012, I would say, they tend towards quite sort of aggressive, jerky heroes. And in My Princess, Song Seung-hoon, who plays the main character, the hero, um, again, a really nice guy, like a genuinely nice guy. There is a bit in the middle where I'm like, where everybody is just totally like, what the hell are you doing? Everyone is hateful and stupid and ugh. And
Is this your first time watching this, Saya?
yes,
okay.
It is.
Okay, I watched it when it was airing, so it's been a while.
Yeah, I remember because you put it on the playlist, so I was like,
love
oh,
the soundtrack for this.
Yeah.
It's so different from any other K-drama soundtrack. I love it. Yes, sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, the soundtrack, I don't know, it doesn't catch me as much. I think
Black. I've seen him in Black. I was like,
Yeah, that's
where
right.
have I seen this guy?
This is the only role that I've actually thought he did well in.
Oh, do you think? Everyone disses him so much, and then there's all the Hantel jokes, but it's like every show I've seen him in, he's been really good. Like Saimdang Light's Diary, I thought he was really good in that, and I really liked that show, even though a lot of people didn't. But he was excellent in that show, and then he went and did Black, and that was also, despite there was a section of the community who weren't into the ending, and that's a matter of preference. But for me, that show was really, really good as well.
To be fair, those two I didn't see. So My Princess is his most recent one that I've seen. So all the other stuff I've seen of him was before that. So maybe he's
right. And did you watch Dr. Jin, right, as well?
I did not.
Oh, you didn't? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's one I haven't watched and I don't plan to watch. And I think I've heard
Wait,
too
it's
much
got
about
like
it.
horrible reviews.
The gummy fetus time travel thing.
It's just,
so even
it's reached legendary status.
Right. So like I don't have any plans of watching that. And I thought that watching this would, maybe it would make this would be one of his weaker roles, but it's not at all. And this is like Kim Tae-hee as well. Again, sort of rom-com icon for that time, right? And I keep getting confused between because what is it? Rain is married to Kim Tae-hee now, right?
That's right.
So, I keep mixing that thing.
That's right. Interesting that we were talking about both of these dramas at the same time.
Yeah. And then Sung Hye-kyo is not married to Rain; she's married to Sung Joong-ki, right? So that it's like my brain is always in a tangle when I try to take these two dramas apart. This is like those traditional rom-coms where there's an evil second lead woman, and this also starts with Kim Tae-hee being like unbelievably idiot. And it's like you're watching her do stupid thing after stupid thing after stupid thing, and you're just overwhelmed by how stupid everything is, and how evil. Like I don't know. Like I was reading the recaps and stuff, and people were like, gleefully watching her evil, and I really can't do that. I've take it really personally. Like the more evil they are, the more personally I take it, because they never like get called out. They never suffer. They never pay the price of
Well,
being
she's like
evil.
super rich and also evil, so no one's
Like she's totally evil.
Yeah.
But also she's like, she plays these two men along, and like, she cries these tears of, oh dear, why are you all leaving me? How can I do my evil without your support? And then the guy comes back to her, and you're like, why are you going back to her? And I haven't finished it. I've gotten to like episode 14, and I'm not bored exactly, but I guess I kind of am a bit, because I'm impatient with it. Like the characters they're not getting their correct comeuppances. Why are you going back to a heartless, manipulative person
It does have
who
that
has no feeling for other people?
Yeah, it does have that episode 14-15 rom-com stretching out of there's no conflict, but we have to create conflict.
Yeah.
Problem. Yeah, it does.
And then I don't know. It was a good sort of opening stretch, but I think it's just lost its momentum here at the end, and I don't know if I can bring myself to finish it, but I'll probably, because it's 2 hours, and why not get my payoff? Maybe she will get punished. I hope
I
so.
often feel, I don't remember whether she got a comeuppance, but I did remember there was a scene near the end of the main couple that just made me grin a lot, and it made me happy. So there's that to look forward to. And you'll know it, I think, when you see it, it's a little bit different.
Who's doing the evil thing? Is it the second lead, or is it the first?
Park Hye-jin, who plays the
Park
character of
Oh, she's doing the evil thing. Oh, I thought the first girl. Okay, no, never mind.
Yeah. I always think when I see these like classic, should I call it a classic rom-com or like a straightforward rom-com, like one that's not like a romance fantasy or like a romance sci-fi or like
as
a
in
romance,
it's straight up rom-com.
Yeah, just a rom-com. Like,
do you even have those these days? Like 1% of anything is the only one that comes to mind. Like a straight up rom-com. That's not something else.
But when I do see them, you're right. They're becoming more rare, especially with a lot of the fantasy, sci-fi, time travel, and all that. That's become so big.
I think maybe
I always think that it needs 12 episodes and not 16. Like that's the thought I always have. Like,
just do better.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
Which is why 1% of anything was so great, because it was like 35 minutes an episode, and it was, I think, 16 episodes. So it was perfect.
Yeah, it was pretty
there's not enough story there to sort of stretch it over. I think that's always been the problem with rom-coms, is that they go on too long. Minimum 2 episodes too long. If you ended it at 12, it would be perfect. And I can think of, for example, Because This Life Is Our First, that should have ended at 12 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Secretary Kim.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Secretary Kim should have ended at 12 episodes.
Yep.
Absolutely.
It's like there's so many shows that would have been classic, like really good, if they had ended at 12. But by going on to 16.
The Greatest Love definitely should have ended before that whole.
No, I'm sorry. I enjoyed every fluffy, like unnecessary episode.
That whole thing with the part where the ambulance comes and then they do like a 2-month time skip made me so angry that
the time skip was not my favorite.
I'm bitter about that one.
Same with Master's Son. What the hell with the time skip? But
it's like a mandatory time skip you have to have, and then when you actually would benefit from a proper time skip, they don't do it.
I think the only time skip that I was really happy with was the one in I'm Not a Robot. That was
a good time skip. Everything about that show was excellent. Like I don't have any criticism.
And I'm hoping for a time skip in this one, still 17. She needs to go out into the world and live a couple of years. I mean, not
A couple
necessarily
of
without
months,
him,
not
but
years,
not.
months.
Okay, come on. Just because the woman's 30, she can't take a couple of
Oh
years
no,
off. She
because
can.
I like
Okay.
them together so much.
Oh, I love
I
them
also
together.
I mean, like,
I'm so
because
Sorry, go ahead.
he
I'm
really
so
needs
into
her,
this.
like he benefits from, it's not that she's benefiting from him solely, it's that he is finding the like he's becoming able to manage like a normal human being in the world because of her as well. So it's like they mature
Right.
each other.
Yeah, the it's like not what we were
Sweet.
worried about. Like, you know how we were worried that she's like a 17-year-old and he's an adult man, but he's not really an adult man.
Yeah,
So
not
like
at
they're
all.
kind of
He's like,
Yeah.
helping
they're
each other
both,
grow up.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like the arrested development is yeah, exactly. They're both pulling each other to the stage of life that they should be at.
Right. So it's nice.
In
That beach scene where they talk was so. I love that.
that
scene,
was
where he just
I'm
asks
so glad
her
that
and talks to
happened.
him.
That much information was very needed, very necessary
Yes.
for Suri to understand where Gong comes from, like why he acts the way he
Don't you
acts.
love the way that
So,
Chan always calls him Mr. Gong? It's just
Everything about Chen is
and
lovely.
sometimes when he's like really frustrated, it becomes Mr. Gonga. I'm like, oh.
like Mr. Gonga. And you rewind it like 6 times just to hear him say that again.
No,
And I
my
love how he's
favorite scene,
adopted
honestly,
Chan's
for a
friend.
while. Oh yeah, absolutely. He's totally like, come in, ducklings. No, one of my favorite scenes for a while was that moment when Chan just like sort of peeks into Gong's room and he's like, oh, I have something very important to tell you, and he's like, what? And Chan's like, oh yeah, dream about me.
I mean,
Sort of does
you gotta love the moments
kissing
where
face and runs
yeah,
off.
you gotta love the moments where like Chen is the adult in the relationship,
Yeah.
and he's like telling his uncle, okay, stop being a baby and come home, and he's like, oh, I'm ashamed of myself.
Oh,
They're so cute.
I love their relationship. It's so good.
I also love how Jennifer is like so stern, but she's like a squishy marshmallow on the inside, and
they
her
all
relationship with Tori is
are.
the best.
It's
She
like
gets
they've
the
become this
sweetest expression
family.
on her face when she sees them together. Yeah,
Oh.
I know.
The
And
shoes.
she's clearly like, she needs a family. They are a family, and like it's just.
I love the
all-
shoe
all of
exchange
them
between
need
her and Sori
family.
too. That was so great.
Sorry,
warmed
I
my
need to
heart.
say that again.
I loved the shoe exchange between Jennifer and Sori. That really warmed my heart.
Oh yeah, that was super sweet. The only troubling part about that episode was when she's like, I am independent, I'll go off and live alone. And then the apartment owner is like, wait, I'm back. I just can't give
I
it to you
actually
right now.
really
She's
loved
all
that.
up and about turn.
It was so embarrassing for
I
her to
know.
go back. It was so funny. After all this
It was
dramatic like
hilarious.
gifts that she gave everyone, and all that,
Oh.
Ken was like crying his eyes out. That was pretty great, actually.
And him
It
asking
was-
for
it
his
was-
audio note.
Yeah, I know. Look, the execution was amazing. I was just like, for a little while, I was like, man, why? Just
That's what
why?
she like.
Like she could have. But
No,
yeah,
no, I
no,
get
you know
that,
what? I have no complaints. I actually like wherever they're taking us, they're doing it so smoothly and with so much sensitivity that I'm actually pretty happy with the way the drama is generally going. Even though I might have personally chosen a different route, I'm actually happy with how they're doing things. The only thing that comes to mind, like once they do establish a romantic relationship, is just that the physical aspect of it. Like these are grown-up people. Well, you know, like not mentally in Suri's case, but these are grown-up people. If they establish a relationship, yeah, sooner or later, like it inevitably becomes a physical. Whether you get married or not, it becomes a physical relationship. And the troubling aspect here is that this girl is so inexperienced. She can emotionally mature. Like at 17, people are pretty emotionally mature. I mean, and some people would also argue otherwise. Like, anyway, I'm digressing. My point is that she just needs space, and this guy Woo Jin is sensitive enough to give her that, and I think he would willingly give her that. But they have to show us that he understands that she needs time to grow up in a, you know, like in the safety of their relationship. It's just I want their relationship to be chaste for a bit
Honestly,
longer.
I think that they're like
And
at the same place pretty much in terms of emotional development. I don't think
look,
that
yeah, I
he's
mean,
got an
Woojen's
edge on
never had
her
a
at all.
relationship.
I think they'll
No,
be
he doesn't
maturing
have an edge
together.
on her.
He doesn't have anything on her. I mean, I think they're
He,
maturing
he
together.
doesn't.
Whatever's a
It's
first for
they might
her
be
is a first for him.
they might be emotionally maturing together, but there is a difference in life experience.
Yeah, but you know
It's
what? He's
just the
never
amount of
dated,
information you
so
absorb.
it's not like he has not had any experience.
Yeah, he doesn't give
in the
off the
romantic
vibe of
department.
being someone who's like really.
Saya, I have to contradict you that even though a person who's 30 years old may not have actively dated, but the amount of information about dating, relationship, conducting relationships, keeping relationships, about even sexual relationships that you imbibe in all those years, that's not something a 17-year-old likes Yori, especially likes Yori. Someone who is not interested in that stuff at all is just automatically going to have in her head, and
No, but my
information is
point
important.
is that Woojin doesn't have that either. He's not.
I'm saying Woojin doesn't have the physical experience, but Woojin does have information. It's
I
inevitable.
don't know if
This
he
guy has
does,
been living and working in the
because do you
world.
remember, like, one thing, he spends half the year in the middle of a forest getting very hairy.
With internet access.
Yeah, but he doesn't have an interest in them. Like, he hasn't woken
No,
up to that.
the thing is that aside from the fact that he is still stuck on,
Measuring
well,
things.
Suri supports her death, yeah, that accident. and also that, yeah, he is kind of out of the world that
And
way.
like
He hasn't
his
moved on.
whole theory of mind isn't even developed. Like, I mean, theory of mind is your ability to see yourself as others see you. He doesn't even have that. And that's like a really basic
I understand
developmental
that,
hurdle.
but there is there are things like optics, for instance, are very important. In my head, when I see Sori, because of the way she behaves, because of the way this actress portrays her, I see her as a very young person. And the way Woojin acts, I see him as an older guy with a younger personality.
Yeah, you're quite right. I mean, because there's points where he's really close to her, and there is attention from him.
Yeah, and now I don't mind that, because that's completely normal and healthy. I have no issues with that.
You're
What
right
I'm saying
in
is,
that he does have that information to hand, and he knows what to do with it. He's just never done it.
I think
exactly. And
go ahead.
I don't know if he sees her mental age as a barrier at all, and we won't know that. Like, I think he sees her as a woman. But I want to see how the drama treats this relationship, because preferably there would be a period of chastity. But like, not even chastity. I don't even know why I keep saying that word. It just
especially when we know you don't even, you like.
I don't subscribe to those values now. But I really want to protect Suri.
No, I mean,
and in my head, for some reason, protection comes in the form of, I don't know, chastity belts.
I do understand your point.
I don't know why I'm becoming such a prude.
Yeah, no, I mean, I do understand your point, but I think the two people don't necessarily have to have the same amount of life experience for them to be in a respectful relationship where each one is willing to kind of give the other person the space that they need, which is kind of what our point was with You Who Forgot Poetry, A Poem a Day, where like that relationship
completely. But the girl there was much older.
That's true.
I mean, yeah, 17 years old. And she's never had a relationship, never even had a crush on anyone. This is her first relationship, the first time she's feeling like this about anyone. And this is inevitably going to be a very serious, probably the only relationship she has in her life. Like, since it's a romance, I mean, come on, that's the assumption.
But the other thing that I feel it's important to note is that even though she is sort of developmentally and life experiencely, that's not even a word, experientially, at 17, she intellectually, she does have that knowledge. Like, she knows she's 30 years old. So she actively is doing her best to age herself up. Like, she's bringing herself up there consciously. It's not like she's not stuck in being 17.
I don't think that she needs 13 years to reach where Woojin is. I just think she needs a little longer than what I think the drama is willing to give.
I don't think it's necessarily accurate to say she is like she's still 17. Because from the moment she woke up and found out she was 30 years old, she's been working so hard to bring herself up to age. And she's aged herself up. She's not at 30 yet, but she's close. She's not far off it.
Yeah, and I don't think we need to get like preemptively too worried. Let's see how it shakes out.
Yeah, I'm not actually at all worried.
I'm not worried either. I'm pretty hopeful that this drama is gonna be like. I'm pretty happy till now. Like I really don't have complaints.
You sound like you're so concerned. That's why I was just saying, like, it hasn't happened yet.
I want to protect baby Suri.
I mean, she is very lovable, and we do want to protect her.
It's funny because this is the first time I've seen Shin Hye-sun playing a character who is actually vulnerable and young. Because she's always been quite in the shows I've seen her
spunky.
Yeah, and like sharp and edgy
school
and strong and
for
tough.
instance. Yeah, very edgy.
She plays
like the first of Secrets.
She plays the maknae in 5 Children, which was a family drama. So she's like the youngest sister. She's pretty innocent. She falls in love for the first time in that. But I don't think either of you have seen that.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
You guys know about that she started really late, right? Like her career, I think she started when she was 25, I think, or 26, something like that. 25, I think.
Okay.
And she hasn't actually done any lead roles until this one. And like
she was the lead in that weekend drama
right
that we will not talk about or watch because it has Park Shin.
Oh right. She was in a week, but basically she didn't do anything to bring her in our radar until like this one. And so which is kind of surprising, isn't it? Like I don't know if too many heroines have meteoric rises like this. Like especially when like her first lead role comes when she's around 29. Like in the weekend drama and this one, that was pretty close together.
But that weekend drama got amazing ratings. 5 Children did. And then she was in Legend of the Blue Sea, which I think got pretty decent ratings too.
But she was a secondary character then, not the main lead.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like, proper main lead roles, which like she's a very good actress.
She is.
I'm just impressed that she started relatively late, later than most actresses that I see on K-dramas, and she still managed to get here. And she's definitely going to get many lead roles after this one. She's doing so well in this drama.
What I meant was that because those second lead or minor characters were in such popular and high-profile dramas, I think that made her, be able to get the lead roles. Yeah, even though she was like later on. I'm not, 22 years old or whatever the usual ingenue age is for you to become a leading lady.
Yeah. Okay. So before we wrap up, I have one last point to say about Full House, which I completely forgot to mention, but it's right here in my note with pointers saying I should talk about it. Is that the second lead, the guy whose name I cannot remember right now, but this Min Hyuk, I think, he was so damn popular. Like the YouTube KBS channel where this drama is, the comment section is full of people going like, you know what, Jiyoon, you should just run away with Min Hyuk. Every comment was all about that.
Isn't he?
He's very sweet, though. I don't understand his, excessive appeal though. Like I really like Rain in this one. I don't understand how he stands up in comparison. But what I did realize though, like of the dramas that I watched in that particular era, 2004 and before that, second leads this nice who also have charisma was pretty rare. Like we have seen better second leads after that, but back at that time, Min Hyuk's character was pretty new in that he was supportive, he was interesting, he was an actual legitimate rival to Rain's character Yeonjae. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about that. And if anybody thinks that that's like completely rubbish, there were other second leads of the time. Please tell me. I don't know enough.
That's a really good point though. Because it's true that they just usually second leads exist to create conflict, but they're not necessarily deeply they're not detailed characters.
Like Lee Jun-ki of the beautiful hair and the sad eyes. My girl who just cries over the heroine who's just beautiful and like sad. Yeah.
Yeah. Though I still have fond memories of my girl.
No, definitely. I have very fond memories, especially of him.
For some reason, most of them are in a bar. Did he drink a lot?
I don't remember a bar. I remember a lot of like
There's always a
clementines and the ocean.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because they're on Jeju Island.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. We clearly focused on different parts of this drama.
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't have a question this time, do we?
No. Oh, and by the way, apologies for not doing upcoming dramas, but there are literally 18 coming up in September, and we just didn't have time to cover them all.
Okay, so let's go to you can ask me about my penguin joke.
Do you have a penguin joke prepared?
I have a penguin joke.
Yes.
What do penguins wear to the beach?
Flippers.
That's a really good answer.
And again, I'm wrong.
Damn it.
What did you say, Paroma?
Never mind, it's wrong anyway.
Okay, give the answer quick. We're running out of time.
A bikini.
Ah.
Bikini.
I
think flippers is a better answer. I'm a convert.
Yeah, totally.
Let's do that. All right, guys.
Okay, guys.
Bye.
Yeah, that's all for this time. Bye.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Okay, I totally forgot we were meant to get the dad joke from Paroma this month. I promise, next month. Also, I've nearly run out of penguins anyway, so good timing. You might have noticed that we didn't cover any news or preview upcoming dramas this yak, and as I said at the beginning, we're planning a few changes. These yaks have been getting longer and longer and longer every month, and because we love you and don't want to kill you, we're going to separate that segment into its own episode. Kirehaseyo, look forward to it. Let us know what you've been watching and what you're looking forward to this month. You can reach us at starsinOurpocket@gmail.com, tweet at us at a K-Drama Podcast, or leave a comment on our YouTube or SoundCloud pages. Don't forget to subscribe to us for twice monthly episodes on SoundCloud, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, or wherever you get your podcasts. If you're using Apple Podcasts, we'd really appreciate if you could leave us a review, as that helps people find us. That's all for now. As always, thanks so much for listening. You guys are jang. Bye.